Skip, remind you now, he only weighed 144, so he was basically 10 pounds, basically under the weight. But he wiped it out.
A much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's gonna have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Have to start playing catch up in rounds 4, 5, 6. Believe me, by the 7th round, Canelo's going to be a little muscle fatigued, right? We've seen that. And
Shannon Sharpe didn't hold back when talking about a potential Canelo versus Crawford showdown. He warned that this fight could go very badly for Canelo. Sharpe pointed out that Crawford has better speed, sharper skills, and way more stamina. And if things go wrong, it won't just be another loss, it could be the moment Canelo's reign truly ends. Recently, Canelo admitted he started thinking about retirement. After 2 decades in the sport, he says the urge to explore life beyond boxing is growing stronger. He's starting to feel like it might be time for something new.
Has retirement ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about that?
I always say like 37 is good time to go. It's not because I can't be in the boxing anymore, but you know, sometimes you need to do something else. So I'm being in October I turned 20 years as a professional fighter. So it's meant a lot of years. So
Eddie Hearn, who's been by Canelo's side for years, dropped a major hint about what's next. He suggested that this upcoming fight with Crawford might be the last time we see Canelo in the ring. According to Hearn, Canelo could be closing out his legendary career with one final massive challenge. And Hearn would know. He's watched Canelo grow, evolve, and take on the toughest fights. Now, with the wear and tear of 20 years showing, it sounds like Canelo might be ready to call it a day by facing one of the most skilled boxers alive.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age and like life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford. Because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Canelo's recent performances have raised some serious eyebrows, especially for Eddie Hearn. His fights against John Ryder and William Skull didn't show the same fire we're used to. He looked slower, his head movement wasn't as sharp, and the power in his punches just wasn't there. The explosiveness that wants to find him seems to be fading. Meanwhile, Crawford's camp is brimming with confidence. Bernie, a close team member, didn't just praise Crawford, he called him a legend. And here's the wild part, even some Mexican fans are starting to lean toward Crawford. This shift isn't about loyalty, it's about recognizing raw skill, hunger, and momentum. And when admiration crosses over like this, it says a lot about the legacy Crawford is building.
Yeah. Now, the man said, now it's both good. Say, not gonna beat me. He said, I'm telling you, I guarantee I'm gonna beat you. So you know what I'm saying? That's how Crawford is. That's how he feel. He believe in his heart. And you could tell it. You could look him in his eyes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people believe that Crawford gonna win this fight. And a lot of Mexican people.
Yeah, they supporting him. They supporting him.
A lot of Mexican people, you know. So they got their formula why Crawford gonna beat him. But it's a tremendous fight. I think Canelo, like I say, is a living legend. You know, and everything that he do. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of Mexicans don't like him, but I love him. I think he does everything good in the ring. I think, you know, from swag to everything. I just love Canelo. I can't take it away from him. You know, he had them little allegations and everything. Yeah. And that's a damper on him. But I try not to focus on that. You know what I mean? I know he got in there with the baddest guys, the toughest guys, and he came through with flying colors. So I give him all the credit, going up there and fighting Bivol when nobody knew who Bivol really wasn't paying attention to him. That man was a 25-year-old champion, the reigning champion, title defenses under his belt, and young and good. And Canelo fought him, so you know what I'm saying, that was a challenge. You feel me? Had the height, had the reach, had a lot of, you know what I mean? So I give Canelo none but credit. I thank him for allowing us to get this fight. And you see what Crawford said. I didn't get to get, Canelo got to fight these guys with the names. I didn't necessarily get to fight all the guys with the names when I wanted to, but I got him.
Yes.
And that's the how it coming around full circle. And when God got it for you, nobody can be against you. And so I think he's the most deserving fighter of that outside of Benavidez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides that, but Benavidez still doesn't bring the super fight dynamic to it.
Yes.
It's a really good fight with Benavidez, but this is a super fight.
Exactly.
We have legends fighting. David Benavidez has yet to become a legend. He's still growing in the sport.
Absolutely.
Crawford is a legend. 14 years in the sport, 10 years as champion, 11 years going on. You understand? Undisputed 2 different times, fighter of the year, all those different things. So, like I say, and the mystique of Crawford is legend in itself. The mystique of Crawford. So, I mean, so it's a super fight. Again, I thank Canelo Alvarez for taking the fight.
Former champ Kelly Pavlik gave a brutally honest take on the matchup. He said Crawford might actually be the stronger, more effective fighter in the ring, something most wouldn't expect. Pavlik highlighted Crawford's pure talent, control, and sheer physicality. But he didn't hold back on Canelo either. He believes Canelo has been playing it safe in recent fights, just doing enough to avoid losing. That kind of strategy might not cut it against someone like Crawford. Pavlik painted a clear picture. Crawford is climbing higher with every fight, while Canelo looks like he's just trying to hang on.
He's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. The guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys, so nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one. Not worrying about anybody, saying, hi, you're wrong or talking. But it'll be a good one.
Trainer Robert Garcia added more fuel to the fire. He agreed that Canelo no longer fights with that same knockout aggression. Garcia summed it up simply: Canelo is tired. And it makes sense. He's been a pro since his teenage years, carrying the weight of boxing for nearly 2 decades. His once calculated risk-taking has turned into cautious pacing. But Garcia wasn't criticizing him, he was acknowledging the toll that kind of career takes. Canelo's been in wars, fought the best, and now the wear and tear is starting to show in every round.
Why is it that Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga, but not Canelo?
It's because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again, Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. He's up there, in not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believed he had.
Popular analyst Showbiz the Adult called this fight potentially historic. He said if Crawford beats Canelo, it could push him into all-time great status. This fight isn't just about championships anymore, it's about legacy. But Showbiz also made an interesting point. If Crawford wins too easily, people might start doubting the outcome. In today's social media world, big wins come with big questions. How did a smaller guy beat someone like Canelo so clearly? That kind of dominant win could spark conspiracy talk. For Crawford, this might be the peak of his career and the start of a different kind of challenge.
Is going to attempt to do something that is so incredible, so magnificent, so amazing as a fighter and for his legacy in trying to beat Canelo Alvarez, the 168-pound undisputed champion. My fear is if he does that, if he accomplishes that, if he is able to succeed in accomplishing such a magnificent goal, people will immediately discredit Terence Bud Crawford and his victory, calling him a drug cheat.
Stephen A. Smith gave his prediction, and he was crystal clear. He sees Crawford winning by decision. Smith believes Crawford's discipline, ring smarts, and ability to control the pace will earn him a clear victory. Yes, Canelo is still dangerous, but his recent fights have shown a dip in activity. Crawford, on the other hand, thrives in long battles and shines in the later rounds. A decision win over 12 tough rounds could lock in Crawford's place as not just the best right now, but one of the greatest of this generation.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes,
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
Always prepared.
He's always ready.
gotta give
He's
him that.
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But I don't think he's gonna knock him out.
Crawford, as always, looked calm and confident when asked about the fight. He acknowledged Canelo's size and pressure, but he didn't seem fazed. Crawford's mindset is locked in. He respects Canelo, but fully believes in his own ability to adjust and respond to anything.
And I'm feeling good. You know, work has been going great. And, you know, fight time, we're going to be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, you know, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, you know, box a little bit, but I also expect him, you know, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, you know, we expect everything in there.
Antonio, another voice from Crawford's camp, revealed something big. He said Crawford already has the full game plan ready, and they're confident it targets all of Canelo's current weaknesses. Crawford isn't just training hard, he's training smart. He knows exactly when to switch styles, when to counter, and when to push the pace. But Antonio didn't write Canelo off completely. He said if Canelo shows up like he did against Caleb Plant, aggressive, explosive, and hungry, he has a real shot. But anything less, and Crawford could dominate from start to finish.
Terence gotta be Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terence Crawford. Because weight ain't going to make the difference. It ain't going to be the weight. It's going to be the skill set.
In a moment that caught everyone off guard, Canelo himself gave Crawford huge praise. He said Crawford ranks above some of boxing's all-time greats. Coming from someone who's faced Mayweather and worked with Oscar De La Hoya, that means a lot. It shows just how much respect Canelo has for Crawford. And maybe, just maybe, it hints that Canelo sees Crawford not just as a rival, but as the next torchbearer of the sport.
The best fighter he has ever faced. He says that he believes that Terence Bud Crawford is better than legendary Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya. There's no shot there. Tito Trinidad. But the shot came in where he said that he believes he is definitely better than Russian superstar undisputed light heavyweight world champion who beat Canelo Alvarez, I thought, pretty handily, 9 rounds to 3. I thought 10 rounds to 2, but 9 rounds to 3 at worst. He beat Canelo Alvarez in Dimitri Bivol. And then he said that, but this is not a shocker, he said this before, that Terence Crawford is better than Floyd Mayweather. Now, I personally don't believe that. I believe that Floyd Mayweather is a better fighter. But nonetheless, Terence Crawford is a great in his own right. But this just goes to show that Canelo Alvarez has learned something, a thing or two from Floyd Mayweather. He showed some things he took from Floyd Mayweather from their fight, which he lost every single round to a 36-year-old going on 37-year-old Floyd Mayweather. In 2013, he lost every single round to Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather always build up his opponents. Always, okay? He always build up his opponents. He never tear down his opponents. He learned, if you tear down your opponent, how you get credit for your opponent, for the win.
If he's able to be aggressive, not be affected by Bud's punches, and just keep, attacking and imposing that will on him, and then Bud being the dog that he is, and just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go, I'm letting loose. I think that can change the effect on Bud, and I think that will be the way that Alvarez can win that fight.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so what do you think? Obviously, if Bud remains slick, what outside of that could cause Canelo to